All right. Good morning, warriors. We were discussing. Let's take a recap of day one. Yes, let's do a recap of day one, people. We were discussing about what is called as your income tax loss. Yes, we started from the reverse order. We started with what is called as loss. Then we started with what is called as tax. We did not conclude on the discussion on what is income. Yes, that is what we discussed. Basically, in a simple terms, law is going to be basically any kind of rules and regulations which is created. May not be enforceable, just has to be created. Can be oral, can be written, can be within a house, can be within a village, can be anywhere for that matter. As long as you are required to follow it, it's a law. Yes, tax is something which is basically a charge on your incomes, expenses, items, products, any of those items which is going to be termed as legal, only by the Constitution of India. We have article number, very good. We have article number 265, which comes and clarifies what is the tax to be levied or collected except by an authority of law. Yes, if you want to create a law, you need to go to article number 246, which has three lists. One is called as the union list, one is called as your state list, and one is your concurrent list. In your union list starts your income taxes other than agricultural income taxes. Your state taxes collect your agricultural state tax, and when you have your GST, it is collected from concurrent audits. It's created from concurrent list. Yes or no? Yes, this is what we discussed in the hefty 3-hour session which we had in the previous class. Luckily for me, I have 6 hours today, so therefore a lot of fun is going to happen today. Whenever I get a bonus class which is not assigned to me, yes, those are the days when I always like to complicate life a little more better. Yes, so therefore today's class is going to be fun for me. I am not bothered what happens to you. Yes, no, but nevertheless, today is something going to be interesting, people. We are going to look back at our foundations. Let's try to solve the basics before we get into the advanced of inter. Yes, unless you know your basics, your inter cannot solve your purpose. So let's go back to your foundations. Yes, we were discussing about what is called as your laws versus act. Yes, we came and clarified that when it comes to your laws are bigger than your law comprises of some items called as act, rules. Very good. You have something called your act, your rules, your circulars, your notifications, and your case laws. Yes. Now, ideally, this is part of your foundation syllabus, so therefore you should have known about it. But nevertheless, since it has not been built in foundation, let me deal it for you. There are two ways to learn this. One is I can tell you what each item means, which is the boring way. Let's do the interesting way. Yes. Let's assume that you and I are going to create a law today. Yes. We're not going to create an act. We're going to create a law. Yes. We are going to do the bigger thing. Yes, we are going to do the bigger thing. We're going to create a law. Yes. Now, one thing which you need to understand, people, is that laws are not simply created because someone is feeling bored about it. Yes, they are created for a specific agenda or a purpose. Yes or no? Like income tax is created for you to pay taxes. Companies Act is created for the purpose of you to manage companies, etc. and etc. Yes. On the similar terms, I'll have to give you a case study first. Yes. Basically, tell you what is the purpose or the issue which we are facing in India right now. Yes, based on that issue is when you're going to create a law. Yes or no? Yes. So the issue is like this. People, I was going on the road, and one of the days I went to the market. And I was going and buying products because my mom came and asked me to do it. Yes. Now I do cook, but nevertheless, yes. The point is, she asked me to go to the market and buy some things. She told that today we are going to plan to make a fruit salad at home. I'm going to plan a fruit salad at home because guests are coming. Yes. So I said, okay. I am not much aware about things. So I went to the shopkeeper and I said, whatever fruits you have, give me 10 pieces of everything. I will go and create a fruit salad at home. Yes. Now the person started picking up items. What and all items do you need in a fruit salad? Apple, bananas, strawberries, grapes in fruit salad. Okay, maybe grapes. Orange will make it sour. No. Pomegranate will make it very sweet. I'm very choosy, people. That rich. Maybe. Yes, all these items were there. Now, this is what my mind has an expectation of. But suddenly what happened is when the person was creating the bag, he started putting tomatoes. He started putting chilies. He also started putting lady finger. Yes. Now, all those things started. I was a little surprised. I was like, what the hell happened? Why are you putting all these items? These are not part of fruit salad. He's like, sir, you needed fruits. These all are fruits. fruits. Now I'm a little confused. I'm like, why exactly is this fruits? He's like, no, sir. I have been searching on Google, and Google comes and tells me if there is a seed inside it, it is a fruit. And therefore he forcefully put everything in my bag and gave it to me. Yes. Now I'm feeling very disappointed because I cannot take it home. Yes. If I go and take it home and I put ladyfinger inside it, then a different comedy will start. Yes. Then you will start making that big custard apple like Rachel made for Friends. You would have seen that show. Yes, that big layer she'll make with ladyfinger and all those things inside it. Yes, she merged 2 pages and put it. Yes, now that is what is going to happen. Yes, so I as a CA now have approached the government of India and I've informed the government of India this is a big issue going on in India where I don't know what is. Yes or no? Yes, luckily there was a vacancy in government of India and therefore they came and said, Rahul, since you are the one who's coming and asking for it, why don't you itself create the ministry? Why don't you itself create the ministry? You take the responsibility, you handle everything off. You handle everything off. Now you're creating a law for India, not a one person's job. I need teams. I need teams. So you are going to become my team members. You're going to become my team members. Together we are going to create something called fruit law. Yes, we're going to create something called as fruit law. Yes, I'm going to teach you what is to create in a fruit law, and then based on that we learn everything off. Yes, I'm playing comedy, but when you end the session, you will know what is happening. Yes, so we're going to create something called as fruit law, people. The intention is very simple. You need to first start realizing what does English have relevance in India. Yes, because any random thing you talk about has a meaning to it. Yes, and therefore we need to have the most appropriate meaning because everything you say right now is going to create a law for India. Yes, and there'll be one idiot in India sitting who will come and object to everything in life. Yes or no? So you need to satisfy yourself as well as India also. Let's see how good we can create the law and then we'll proceed forward with that. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. So we're going to create something called as a fruit law, people. Yes. Now for those who understand, fruit law, if I'm going to create, I have to create every of these items. Yes. So therefore, there are powers which are given to respective people. You and I are ministry right now. What will we do in this? We'll create the act first. So let's first understand everything, people, one by one. First, we have something called as act. Yes, where I am now first itself starting to create something called as a law. The first law which is going to be created is going to be created by an act. Yes or no? So the act will come and tell you how to do things. Or what to do things. Yes or no? Yes. Now once I'm done with that, what will happen? I will now have to create a specific body. Yes, let's say we'll call it fruit body. And one of you people will become the head of that department. Who will now manage this inside India? Yes or no? Yes. People, when you would have done civics, maybe you would have done civics. Yes, in that civics you would have learned there are 3 bodies in India. There is a legislative body. There is a legislative body. There is an administrative body. And then there is something called judiciary body. Yes or no? I am sitting at legislative body along with you people. Yes, so we are the ones who are going to first create something, and then there will be someone who will manage it, and then there will be someone who will interpret it. That is what judiciary body does. Yes, this is basically like your gods, people, the Brahma, the Vishnu and the Shiva. Yes, the one will create, the one will manage, and the other one will break it off. Yes or no? Yes. Either law has come from God or God has come from law. Something has happened. Yes, I'm not sure which is the sequence. Yes, some of the sequence has happened. Yes, India works on basic movies only. Yes, everything you see in the movie will be in the real life story, or the other way around. I'm not sure which one works. Yes or no? Yes. So that is what is going to happen, people. We are going to create something called as a fruit law. Now, before even we create a law, we need to first create an act. Yes or no? Yes. So you're going to start creating with me something called as fruit act. People, we are doing it this year, so therefore it will be called as fruit act. Very good. We're going to create something called as fruit act 2024. Agreed, not agreed? Yes. Now here is a simple question, people. You and I are the ministry. Today we are going to create the act. Today itself, when you and I pass the paper and we create a document which has English, does it become a law? No, it has to be approved by people. Yes or no? Yes. Now when it is going to get approved by people, can I call it as an act today itself? No. Laws of India come and require that when you and I prepare something, it's a draft document. It's a draft document which needs to be approved, by the parliament, Yes or no? Yes. Therefore, they do not let me put something called as Fruit Act. What I'm proposing to you right now will be called as Fruit. Very good. It will be called as Fruit Bill. Yes or no? Yes. For those who understand, people, whenever a law gets created, the first thing which gets created is the bill. Yes, that bill goes to people, parliament, public, everyone for that matter. They all look at it, they give their suggestions and everything, which gets approved, and then it becomes an act. We have not reached there. We have reached only the bill part. Yes. So you are going to create something called as a Fruit Bill 2024. Yes or no? Yes. Now, for those who have seen an act in the past, people, do you know the sequence? Inside a bill always starts with something called as, what is the format of an act? What is the first thing which is there in the act? Sorry? What is the headings inside each act called, ma? What is the headings under each act called? Very good. We start with something called as sections. Every heading which you have will be used by using the word sections. Yes. Now, but there can be multiple sections in the whole act, and everyone will have a different purpose. Yes or no? So therefore, every section will also have something called as chapters. Every section will also have a chapters. Like, for example, chapter number 1 will be introduction chapter. Chapter number 2 will be basics chapter. Chapter number 3 will be charging chapter. Chapter number 4 will come and tell you how to do penalties. Chapter number 5 will do something else, etc. and etc. I am just starting the bill, people. So therefore, my chapter number 1 will be preliminary chapter. Yes, chapters are always written in Roman numerals, and therefore we call it chapter number 1 preliminary. Yes or no? Now, while I may be creating something called as a fruit bill for you right now, people, this is the same format for any law. Yes, if you read income tax also, it will follow the same sequence. Numbers may change, sections may change, but otherwise the logic will remain the same. Yes or no? Yes. So I've created chapter number 1, which is preliminary. Under that, we have created section number 1. What is the section number 1 always, people? That is the answer. What is the heading? What does section 1 talk about? Section 1 talks about, that is definitions, people. What is it? About the whole of India. So the section என்ன இருக்குன்னு தெரியலையே. No idea. It starts with something called as title, extent, and commencement. 3 things which you need to first of all answer every time you create something, people. What is the name? To whom does it apply? From when does it apply? 3 things are to be always answered. 3 things are always to be answered. Without even you knowing these things, why would someone care about it? Yes or no? Because every time you introduce something, the first question anyone will come and ask, does it look to me or not? Second question he'll ask, okay, if it is looking to me, should I look from 1980s or should I look from today? Third thing, if I want to call it tomorrow, what should I call it? Yes. So 3 things, always any section number 1 will have title, extent, commencement. Now you and I are the ministry, people. First thing we need to ask ourselves, first of all, can we do this as a part of constitution? Question to you. Creating a fruit, telling what exactly is a fruit, is it going to violate any constitution? Not going to violate, which means I can create this. Can I? Yes. Second, I need to ask myself, Rahul, under which list will I put it? Do I want to call it a central thing, state thing, or concurrent thing? This answer will always come based on who is facing the issue. Yes. Now today I went to the market as an individual person, but similar to me, everyone in Tamil Nadu is facing the issue. Similar to me, someone else in Maharashtra may also be facing the issue, which means this looks like a central thing. So it has to be part of union list. Agreed, not agreed? Yes. That will come and help you answer what is the extent. Yes or no? Yes. So now we are starting with something called as section number 1, which is title, extent, commencement. Very good. Under section number 1, people, you will put another one. What is this called? I'm going to take a step back. People, I'm writing something. You're gonna help me read this. रुको 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 रुको, जल्दी नहीं करो. मेरे को पता है तुम्हें छोटा छोटा आ जाएगा, सब नहीं आएगा. हाँ, सेक्शन 2 ये तो मेरे को भी पता है, दिस आई नो, दिस इज सेक्शन. इसके बाद ही तो फट रही है. दिस इज सेक्शन 2. This is section 2, clause 31. हाँ, sub clause 12. हाँ, sub clause. It's called item 3. Sub item A. It's called item 3, sub item A. Yes or no? Yes or no? समझ में आया? श्योर? ओके. I'll help. Section 6. हाँ, बाकी तुम देख लो. Sections, clause, subsection. Why was that clause? So, पढ़ा पता नहीं क्यों पढ़ा बस. People, this is section 6. Okay, clause 6. रुको रे. हाँ, next. Sub clause 3. Item 4. Sub item 12. यही पढ़ा नहीं, फाउंडेशन क्लियर हो गया. People, it is section 6, subsection 6, clause 3, subclause 6, item 12, subitem 4. Subitem 4. What exactly went wrong? Why did something become clause there and why did something become subsection here? Sorry?
इंडिपेंडेंट है तो क्लॉज है, और अगर रिलेटेड है डिपेंडेंट है तो सबसेक्शन.
People understand when you use the word sub means it's a part of the main thing. It's a part of the main thing, which means something referred in subsection 6 should be related to section 6. Should be related to section 6. If it is related, then it is subsection. If these are independent activities, has nothing to do with the main item, then in that case it does not have a subword to it. It directly moves to clauses. Simple example, section 2 always talks about definition. Now section 2, clause 1, clause 2, clause 3, everything is talking about different definitions. One says what is India, one says what is income, one says what is tax, one says what is person. Hey, is income related to person? Is tax related to India? No, not really. Yes or no? Which means each item are working independently, has no relation to each other, and therefore they are all clauses directly. But when you come to section 6, in income tax, section 6 talks about how do you determine what is a person, a resident or a non-resident. How do you determine whether a person is a resident or non-resident? Now section 6, subsection 1 will come and tell he is a resident if he does this. Subsection 2 will tell he is non-resident if he does this, which means all are connected to each other. Yes or no? Reference is coming from 1 to 2. Which means both should be read together. When it is to be read together, it is always clear enough. Yes or no? Yes. Now there is no ground rule as to which section talks about sub or which section talks about clause. It depends on what the section is. It depends on what the section is. Simple example, if I go to section 10, in income tax, section 10 also has clauses and no subsections, because section 10 talks about exemptions. Talks about meaning items which are not taxable. Items which are not taxable. Point 1 says agriculture income is not taxable. Point 2 says share of profit is not taxable. Are they two linked to each other? Therefore, they directly move to. That is what the idea is. That is what the idea is. Make sense? Yes or no? Yes. Please be mindful about this, people. Now I'm looking at subsection 1. I'm looking at section 1. In section 1, subsection 1, title, subsection 2, extent, subsection 3, commencement, all linked to each other. Yes, because this act is going to tell you what is to be done for each, which means this is section 1, subsection 1. This is section 1, subsection 1. Section 1, subsection 1 will talk about title. What should we write? This act will hereby be called as Fruit Act 2024. Now if you notice, people, on the top I put fruit bill, but I'm putting fruit act here. Why? Because the bill will change to act when it gets approved. Does not mean I can put bill here, because then I'll have to change the bill also again. Yes, so here I'm saying it is going to become an act after you approve it for me. Very simple. Yes or no? Yes. Second, people, it is extent. Extent means to whom does it apply? To whom does it apply? I told you this is a union thing, which means it applies to. So I'm saying this act applies to the this act applies to the whole of India. Yes or no? Yes. Now if I have to give you a simple background on this, people, somewhere about 2023 prior, we would also have to include one extra word called as including J and K or excluding J and K. Including J and K or excluding J and K. The logic is very simple. We had an article called as article number 370. Article number 370, where basically what happened is during the course of independence, when the India was getting integrated, it so happened that Jammu and Kashmir government was not ready to become a part of India. Was not ready to become a part of India, because it was a dispute going on whether India should take it over or Pakistan should take it over. Yes, to ensure that we keep Jammu and Kashmir as a part of India, we introduced something called article number 370 in the constitution, where we came and said Jammu and Kashmir is a part of India. But the laws of India will not directly apply to Jammu and Kashmir unless and until their state government approves it for them. Yes or no? Yes, that is what happened. And therefore, every time when a law was being created, we used to get special approvals from Jammu and Kashmir to make it part of their state. If they say yes, then we will put it inside saying including Jammu and Kashmir. If they say no, we will leave it just like that. Which means the assumption would be it is not part of Jammu and Kashmir. Simple example, income tax was a part of Jammu and Kashmir as well. Yes, but GST was never part of Jammu and Kashmir. So anything you sell to Jammu and Kashmir was exempt, because it was treated as exports. Because they said Jammu and Kashmir has not approved GST. They have not approved GST. Although people in 2023, Modi Sarkar came and said, boss, fight and all over. Jammu and Kashmir is a part of. They removed article number 370. Forcefully taking Jammu and Kashmir as a part of India without getting Pakistan's approval. Today, any law gets created, we don't have to mention the word Jammu and Kashmir, because it is now assumed that it is applicable to Jammu and Kashmir as well. Yes or no? Yes. Luckily, we are creating it right now. Therefore, I don't have to mention this word. I can let it go. But if you read income tax, if you read GST and all, you'll see this line where it will say including Jammu and Kashmir, because those are old acts. Make sense? Point number 3, people. You need to mention the commencement date. Now this is extremely important, because you need to also be mindful about the fact that if you mention today, it will apply from today. But if you mention any prior dates, it becomes an issue, because someone would have already entered into the transaction. He may cause problems. Yes or no? Yes. Therefore, there are two English, people. One is called retrospective, one is called prospective. Prospective means going forward. Retrospective means from prior years. Yes or no? Yes. Sometimes in acts, people, laws are also amended retrospectively. Laws are also amended retrospectively when they see that the change is important from past years also, otherwise the transaction may become an issue. Otherwise the transaction may become an issue. Very simple. In income tax, 99% of this times that's happened, people. What happens is we will find a loophole and we will not pay tax. We will not pay tax and we will go on it. Yes, courts and all will pass an order and say Rahul is correct, therefore no tax. Therefore no tax. You touch the ego of income tax department. What will income tax department do? They will amend the law. They will amend the law. But if you touch their ego too much, they will amend the law retrospectively. They'll amend the law retrospectively and they'll come and say, boss, the decision which you got is useless. The decision which you got is useless because judiciary body passed a judgment based on old law. Now there is, which is applicable from that date itself, which means the body which passed the judgment is invalid. The body which passed the judgment is invalid and they'll come back to you and ask you taxes. Will you have to pay? No options. You will have to pay this. You'll have to pay this. Yes or no? Yes. Sometime later we'll come and discuss people who is superior, legislative or judiciary. That time we'll agree to it. That time we'll agree to it. Right now this is what the facts look like. Clear enough? Yes. So this is your first section where we have to mention the date of commencement. Your choice. You want to do it from today or you want to do sometime later? We want to do sometime later, people. The logic is very simple. If you're going to pass the bill today, we're going to pass the bill today. It'll take time to get approvals. It'll take time to get approvals. Yes or no? Yes. Imagine approval comes 60 days later. Approval comes 60 days later. That day when it gets passed, it will be applicable from today. That is also retrospective. Yes or no? Yes or no? But at the same time, people, when you're passing the bill today in the parliament, everyone in India is informed about it. Yes or no? So that would not technically be called retrospective because you have informed them while doing it. Yes. So choice can be done either ways. You can either do it from today or you can do it from January. Choose. This act shall apply for all transactions. Actually, let's write it in more legal English. This act shall come into force from 1st January 25. Yes, this is how it will be read as. This is how it will be looked as section number. Any doubts on this section? Good to go? No doubts here? Yes, great. We are moving on forward, people. From section number 1 comes your section number. Now this I think standardly everyone knows. We are looking at definition section. We're looking at the definition section. People, right now itself when you're creating the bill along with me, do you know what and all words you want to define? You want to define what is fruit? Ho gaya na? Yes or no? Do you want to define anything else? Not required. Yes or no? Yes. Now that is what you may think. That is what you may think. As you start creating the bill, you will realize lot more things to come in. Yes or no? So is it good to put the definitions right now? No, it is not good to put the definition right now. I'm keeping a blank space. I'm keeping a blank space. Same as how you write exams, people. You read a big space and then you start working notes and everything. So I'm creating working note space. Yes. So I'm leaving section number 2 right now for you as definitions open. We are starting with something called as section number 3. Now here is where the whole game changes. Yes. Starting section number 3 is in any act, people. You now need to get into the subject. What is my subject? My subject is the fruit bill. My subject is, I am in the ministry right now. My subject is the fruit bill. Yes or no? So you need to come and tell me what exactly is this bill for. What exactly is this bill for? Please understand, people, section 1 we only told bill is coming. We did not tell why is it coming. So you need to first mention why is it coming. That why normally in every act will be in section number. Sometimes it is in section number 4 also. Sometimes it is in section number 4 also. The section which comes and tells you why this bill is there. The section which tells you why this bill is there is always called as sorry. It is called as your charging section. It is called as your charging section. Now we don't use the word charging section. So I'm in the bill. I'm writing charging of fruit. Yes. In income tax section number 4 says charge of income tax. Charge of income tax. Yes. This is the mother section of the bill or act. This is the mother section of the bill or act. What is mentioned in this section is the only thing which can be done. If you do anything beyond this, it is considered I'm using for big English, foundation English, it is assumed as bribe. It is called ultra vires. It is assumed as ultra vires, meaning beyond the scope. It is beyond the scope. Illegal, it seems. Jail mein dal doge mere ko. Yes, it is assumed as ultra vires and therefore it becomes void ab initio. It becomes void ab initio, meaning void from the very start of it. Void from the very start of it. Jargons I'm teaching you people. Foundation law I'm teaching you. Yes. Section number 3 comes and talks about your charge of fruit. Your charge of fruit. Now, what do you want to mention in the section, people? What is the intention behind creating the bill? You want to come and clarify what is correct, not correct. So, what does the charging section should come and say? You want to come and clarify what is the fruit and what is not a fruit. Yes. So, therefore, the charging section would treat something like you are going to tell going forward, this is what is going to be called as, and this is what is not going to be called as. Agreed, not agreed. Yes. So, I am coming and saying charging of fruit with F from the commencement of this act. From the commencement, people forget my handwriting. From the commencement of this act, fruit shall be considered as defined under this act. Simple straightforward line where I'm coming and saying the day when this act comes into picture, fruit will be defined as per this act. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. So you have now come and told me, Rahul, if you look at some item, this item should be called as or. Very good. Yes or no? Yes. Now if I'm reading the line, people, is there some big English which I need to define? I need to define what is. Obviously no. I need to define what is fruit. Yes, because I have not told what is a fruit. I have told you fruit will be as per some definition of this act, which means we have to define the definition of the fruit. Yes or no? Yes. Now here is where the big question comes. Sometimes when you need to define something, you need to be very careful on where you place it. Where you place it. You have 3 options to place it, people. You can either place it in the section itself, or you can place it in the section 2 definitions, or you can choose to not place it itself. You may come and say, Rahul, why is that important? Understand, it becomes extremely critical. Yes, I'll give you a simple example. Today you and I are sitting together. Yes, and I want to come and tell you that beta, if you clear, I will give 1,000 rupees to each your family member. I'll give 1,000 rupees to each of your family member. You will not get anything. Your family members will get 1,000 rupees each. Yes. Now you have come to me and come and told, Rahul, I've cleared. So I'm telling, okay, I need to give 1,000 rupees to each of your family members. Yes. So I'm coming to and asking you, how many family members are there? How many family members are there? Here is where the big problem starts. Because for you, family may be spouse, parents, siblings. So I have to give money to your grandparents. Grandparents, okay. Uncle matlab kya? Oh, father's brother and so father's brother's wife also. Son. Father's brother's son. No daughter. Daughter also. Daughter ka husband. Correct? Yes. And then you'll say spouse ka brother, spouse ka sister, sala ko bhi do, sali ko bhi do. Spouse parents, spouse grandfather's second wife or a third children or a fourth daughter. See? I have a live-in relationship happening, uska bhi de do mere ko. Correct. Now here is the problem, people. Mistake is not from your side, mistake is from my side, because I did not tell you what is. This is where the problem starts. This is where the problem starts. Agreed, not agreed? Yes. Now I may have a difference of thought, people. Imagine a simple example where I come and say, if you clear foundation, I may like to give 1000 rupees to your parents. If you clear inter, I may like to give 1000 rupees to your family members in the house. And if you clear finals, I would like to give 1000 rupees to you and your spouse or family. Yes, by the time you clear, you will already get married. So yeah. Yes, 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 yes. Now, here is a simple problem. I have now created a law with you where I've come and told you what is family. But the problem is the family is now changing for every group. For every group. In that case, people, can I put the family definition in section 2? Can I put family definition in section 2? I can't do that. I'll have to put the family definition in the respective group itself. So I have to say, if you clear foundation, family means this. If you clear inter, family means this. And if you clear final, family means this. Yes or no? Yes. In simple words, people, if you put the definition in section number 3, that definition will be applicable only to section 3. That definition can only be applicable to section 3. Can I use that definition anywhere else? If I put something in section 2, that definition becomes applicable for this bill fully. For this bill fully. Yes or no? Yes. So placement of a definition causes problems, people. It also causes problems because it happens multiple times. Yes. It so happens that sometimes when you draft a law, you may forget to define something. You may forget to define something. Now the bigger issue comes is people come and say, Rahul, if it is not defined in this section, it is defined in section 2. Okay. But if you come and tell it is not defined in section 3 and defined in section 4, can I use section 4 for section 3? Can't do that. Can't do that. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. So the order of priority is very simple. If you see a definition under the section, apply that definition. If you don't see the definition in the section, apply section 2. Here's the fun. Rahul, if it is not there in section 2 also. Assume what? So it is applying to the whole of India, 150 crore population. Everyone is coming and telling, I know what my family is. They have not. That's what the problem is. People, it is not there in section 2. What to do right now? Now I want to define something. Follow? Oxford. Not really. No. I'll give you a simple example, people. Yes, a simple example. What happened is when laws were being created. Yes, these are times of British times. These are times of British times, and when laws were being created, it was very difficult for me to put prepositions and all properly. Yes, so what happened is every time a law was being created, they always used to come and say, if a person fails to do something, he shall be liable for a penalty of 1000 rupees. If a person fails to do something, he shall be liable for a penalty of 1000 rupees. Now you and I may come and think, Rahul, it makes sense. What you forgot to realize is you've used the word he. You've used the word he. Bigger issue which happened is that when they used the word he, every female came and said, this does not apply to me. Yes. Now you may think, Rahul, he is a small word. Why would you define in this section? So you did not do it. You think he is not a big thing, so you did not define in section 2 also. You did not define it in section 2 also. Now you all smart people came and said, Rahul, I'll assume whatever I want. So every female in India came and said, this is not applicable to me. I will do whatever I want. Kill someone, therefore I'll not go to jail. Because no one cares. The whole law itself is created saying if someone kills someone, he will be put in jail. I am not he. Yes or no? And today's world, everyone is not he also, she also. Days are going, Zar is going, something and all is going on. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. Now here is where the big problem is. Because the law now comes and says he, can you come and put the female in jail? Can you come and put the female in jail? Should you be putting her in jail? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. Now here is where the whole problem started. When there are some words which do not have a meaning in the act, it does not mean that you can assume whatever you want. You need to have a law on that also. You need to have a law on that also. Yes or no? Yes. As a part of your inter syllabus in law, you will learn an act called as, very good, you learn an act called as General Clauses Act. You learn an act called as General Clauses Act, where general clauses is now the common act of whole of India. The common act of whole of India, which comes and clarifies if something is not defined in any specific act. If something is not defined in any specific act, I will do it for you. I will do it for you. And as a part of General Clauses Act, when you read it along with your law faculty, they will come and tell you General Clauses Act says he includes he also. he includes she also, which means if he is not defined under this act, it will automatically take the characteristics of General Clauses Act. Take the general characteristics of General Clauses Act, and there you will come and penalize her, saying you are also part of he only. You're also part of he only, and therefore liable for jail. Liable for jail. Makes sense? Makes sense? Any doubts? No. Rahul, it is not defined in general clauses also. क्या करें? You may think, Rahul, why is it not defined in general clauses? I'll give you a simple example. Yes, I was working in my office today. What happened is a notice came from department saying, Rahul, you have to respond within the next 5 days for you to get the case in your favor, or else I will impose a penalty of 1 crore rupees. I'll impose a penalty of 1 crore rupees. Now I am the head of department in my team, so obviously I do not work. Yeah. Yes, I have team members to do it. So what I did is, the moment I got the notice, I forwarded the mail to my team member and came and told him, this is for you to action upon. Within 5 days, I want the response. Logical? Yes. 4 days later, I got a mail back from my team member. The mail read as this: Hi Rahul, FYR. That's all. Mail over. Yes, corporate mails. Yes, FIR. For you people, it's very common. Gen Z people have come to that point where everything is short forms. Yes, you've started using LOL, ROFL, and FML, and TTYL. TTYL is not the Gen Z, it's the corporate jargon. Yes, you have K has become a big thing now. It's not OK also, it's K. Yes, WhatsApp illa, SUP. Yes, big English has started coming in. Yes or no? Yes, today's world, you don't even have to worry. You see Instagram, suddenly OOTD. Some shit and all is happening right now. Yes, so Gen Z student I had. Yes, some Gen Z student joined me and he's written a mail to me. Hi Rahul, FIR. Hi Rahul, FIR. I don't know what it means. Yes, my assumption, I said FIR means for your reference. So therefore I saw the mail and I ignored the mail. He wrote, I thought it's a test mail. Where is written, hi Rahul, FIR, test mail for you. I'm checking whether my mail is working or not. Yes, so I ignored the mail off. 5 days over. Nothing has come to me. Suddenly 6th day, I get a penalty notice from the department. It says 1 crore. Now I have a heart attack. Yes, because I am the responsible person of the team. So therefore I went to my team member and I said, I gave you one work to do 5 days earlier. Did you work on it? He said, yes Rahul, I sent it to you 4 days ago. And I said, what did you send me? He's like, Rahul, did you not check the mail? There is an attachment in the bottom. There is an attachment in the mail. That mail is what I gave it to you. Yes, I have written, no, hi Rahul, for your review. Which means I sent the mail to you. And I gave it to you for a review. Basically, I am waiting for your approval on this. Had you given your approval, I would have filed it off. You did not give approval, so I did not file it off. Now I said, no, I read it as for your, which means you have just sent me something. You don't want me to look into it. It is just like you testing me on it. Basically, I've done something. When you send for your reference, my understanding is that you've already filed it. You're just sending it to me as if you're confirming to me, saying you've done it. So I did not know that I have to review. Now we are stuck. Penalty of, can I go to income tax department, come and say, sir, there is a miscommunication, review reference and penalty, don't put on me. Income tax department will put a 1 crore penalty. Yes, now I have to go and report to my CFO that, sir, we have a penalty of 1 crore. Now CFO is sitting on my head. He's like, Rahul, I'll recover from your salary. Like, where the hell will I get that much salary? Yes or no? Yes. So I went to my team member and I said, we'll share. We will, because mistake is yours. So you do 80%, I'll do 20%. Correct. Team member said, no. See, I sent everything. You did not. So therefore, it is 100% for you, 0 for me. It is 100 for you, 0 for me. Yes, now we are fighting because we don't know what is FIR. If it gets proved that FIR is for your reference, I win the case, he pays penalty. If it gets proved FIR means for your review, he wins the case, I pay penalty. So what we do, we go to our CFO. CFO, and we tell our CFO, dear CFO, FIR is given, I don't know what it means. I think it is for your reference, he thinks it's for your review. Tell me what is the answer. Now, here technically if you notice, CFO has become my judge, meaning he is like my judiciary body. So what will CFO first do? He'll come and say, let's first look at what my company law is. My company law, not the company's law, my company law. There is nothing given in the company law. What will judge do now? Judge will look for General Clauses Act. Luckily, Gen Z clauses have not come in general clauses yet. Therefore, he doesn't have an answer now. Now, CFO has to decide what will he do. Practical issue, people. Complete practical issue. What do you do now? That's what I said. No, company law does not have the word. This company never uses the word. That idiot only used it. Correct, not correct? Yes. What do you think is the right answer, people? How do you think my CFO should answer this question now? Who? Oh, you have. So I am the head of the department. I should go to my team and ask him what is Gen Z now. Yes. And the first thing that guy will come and say, you're being too old and this kind of person. You know how Gen Zs work, right? Yes. You go and ask 2 more questions. You are being very old to me right now. This is not the vibes I'm getting from you. Karke they'll start. I don't want to insult myself to him. Why should I go and ask? He should come and inform about it. What do you think? What do you think? Now, normally this is what would happen in the market also, people. Yes, whenever a decision has to be made on a definition and it is not given in the act, not given in the general clauses also, the only way to approach this is by going to the courts. The only way to approach this is by going to the courts. Now, judge is also like human. He is human. Yes, so judge is also a human, same as you and me. Now, he is not going to invent a definition. He needs to look for something. He needs to look for something. What is the best place to look for a definition? The best place to look for a definition is dictionary. Yes. Now this is not the normal Oxford dictionary, not the normal English dictionary and all which you use in your schools. Yes. We have specific dictionary called law dictionaries. We have specific dictionary called law dictionaries. It's called Black-Scholes dictionaries and all those things. Yes. There are some hefty law dictionaries which are created in the market which gives definitions of few things. So which means the judge will first go and look at the law dictionary for a meaning. This is a Gen Z clause, not part of law dictionary also. Now what to do? Now you have no other options, people, but to go to the customary practice. What will judge do right now? He'll go to the market and come and tell people, when you hear the word, what do you? Yes, he will talk to 10 more different Gen Zs. And try to understand from them what is the vibe check. Yes, whether it is for your reference or for your, if the 10 people come and say it is for your reference, Rahul is gone. Sorry, if they say for your review, Rahul is gone, then Rahul will have to pay the penalty. If they say no, it is for your reference, then Rahul wins the case and Rahul will not pay the. Agreed, not agreed? Yes. In simple words, people, when a definition comes, the order of sequences, first look for the respective section, look for section number, look for general clauses, law dictionary only by the courts, and finally, if nothing is happening, look for customary practices. Now, if you do understand this carefully, people, the last two cause problems, because it can go in anyone's favor. And therefore, whenever a law is created, people always try to ensure that I cover everything in the first two itself. I don't leave a scope for interpretation. The moment you open up the can of worms, everything goes south. So I'm going to try my level best, people, with you to create a fruit bill where I will try to ensure that everything is defined. Let's start with the most critical one, which is fruit. So I'm going to start with something called as fruit, people. I'm now back in section number 2. Trying to define what is a fruit. Yes or no? Yes. Now, here is the question, people. Can I start section 2, clause A as fruit? Yes. No. You should. There is no subsection in 2. There is clause only. Yes. Problem is, people never start with fruit in the first itself. Very simple. Imagine tomorrow you have to define something else. Which falls between A to F. which falls between A to F, it will now become a problem for you. Why? Why? You are going in random sequence. You're going in random sequence. Imagine a guy, normal guy, taking a printout of the act and wants to look at a definition. Wants to look at a definition. What is the most easiest thing to do? If it is given in alphabetical order, he knows where to stop and then check an above and below. But if you start writing fruit in the first and then you write something else later, something else later, something else later, it becomes an issue for him, because now he has to read every definition one by one to find out which one he wants. Which one he wants. Does it make sense? No. I will always prefer to do it in rules of India. Rules of India, whenever section 2 is defined, it should always be defined in alphabetical order. So I am not putting section 2 clause 1 as fruit. I am taking some gap. Let's do it in alphabetical order itself. So A, B, C, D, E, F. So which means I am doing section 2 clause as fruit. As fruit. Yes or no? Yes. Now I don't know how many of you have learned how to read a definition, people, but definition can be of 3 types. Definition can be of 3 types. Inclusive definition, exclusive definition, exhaustive definition. Inclusive definition, exclusive definition, and exhaustive definition. Can you help me with the differences? Can you help me with the differences? Any idea? That is exhaustive. Any idea, people, what is inclusive? No idea? No idea. In simple words, people, if I come and tell men includes women, men includes women, what do you mean? I'm saying we are including women, but we are keeping the scope open. Tomorrow if I come and tell child, is it also included? Yes, because it's also a human being. It's also a human being. Yes, inclusive definition means I've defined a few things, but there can be a lot more things. There can be a lot more things. If it falls in the same bracket, take it up. Take it up. Yes or no? Yes or no? That is called inclusive definition. Exclusive definition means I am excluding a few things. Everything other than this is covered. Everything other than this is covered. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. I am coming and saying when I tell person, person excludes child. Person excludes child, meaning now if child does something, then it's not an issue. But if anyone else does it, it is. What is exhaustive? What is exhaustive? Exhaustive means what I tell is the only answer. What I tell is the only answer. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. Which means if I come and tell, if you talk about 1 crore, 1 crore means number with 7 zeros. 1 crore means number with 7 zeros. Can you put 8 zeros and say it is 1 crore? That is what means definition is. You have told this, this is what it is. You have told this, this is what it is. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. Now if I'm defining a definition, people, I need to decide whether I need to make it inclusive, exclusive, exhaustive. How does it look like? If you start with the word includes, it is inclusive. If you start with the word excludes, it means exclusive. And if you start with the word means, it means exhaustive. Yes or no? Yes. Now you are my ministry, people. Help me out. What do you want to do? Fruit, you want to do inclusive, you want to do exclusive, or you want to do exhaustive? Inclusive. People, we would not like to do exclusive because then we will have to tell everything else also. We would not like to do exhaustive because today you may have some fruits. Tomorrow you may genetically design some other fruit and come and say it is not a fruit. Therefore, we would like to keep it. Which means I'm going to start with the definition saying fruit. Yes. Now here is where the fun starts. You are the lawmakers. Define fruit. I'm going to play a simple game. You're going to define me what the fruit is. I'm going to tell you what is wrong with the definition. Hey, you are defining it. There is nothing in the law book. If it was there, why would I create an act itself? If it was there, you would still not be disputing whether tomato is a fruit or a vegetable. Help. Simple English, people. It's okay. I will complicate the English. Simple English. What do you think is a fruit? Okay, quickly, wasting time. Take a guess. Sorry? You write the list of fruits. Okay, here is the issue. I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this. So if you say fruit includes apple, mangoes, etc., the problem now starts is you will have to define what is. वो नहीं है. Are you okay to define everything now? You want to define what is apple, mangoes, and everything? Something which is red in color is apple. Then I'll bring you a green apple. Yes, I would not like to do that. What other will you do? People, when you do definitions, it is not that you have to give examples. You have to give a definition. Definition means something should have a meaning to it. Something should have a meaning to it. Yes. Think about the general characteristics of a fruit and give me a definition according to it. I want line, pura. Anything. Anything, not anything. Which has seeds. Which has, that's all. Can be. And can be eaten raw. People, everyone is aligned to the definition. You want to make modifications. See, it's a ministry, so you have to help each other, right? You can always audit her thing and you can come and rectify it. Yes. Any changes you want to make before I start asking questions? Quickly, we need to create this law before the lunch, before the breakfast break. Good enough? Sorry? Edible substance. Substance, okay. Huh. Fruit includes any edible substance which has seeds and can be eaten raw. Okay. Anyone else? Good enough? Any issues here? No issues here? Good enough to go? Yes? Okay. This is gonna sound bad, but I'm gonna try. Imagine that I'm walking on the road, yes, and I had an apple. Now I'm more promoting the Swachh Bharat thing and everything. So what I did is I ate the apples and whatever seeds were inside it, I took the seeds and I put it in my pocket. So I'm now walking on the road with seeds in my pocket. Yes, a person catches hold of me. And comes and says, you are a. You can ask cannibals. They will say, I'm edible. I'm tasty also. Yes. Why does pocket have to be edible? Where did you say that seeds has to be naturally there? You just said it has seeds. Do I have seeds? I have seeds, no, in my pocket. You again would like to check cannibals. You check with the tiger. He can eat me raw. Did you come and define that it should be eaten raw by humans? I don't think you've tried, so you don't know. Question is Rahul a fruit or not a fruit? As per the definition, don't tell me logics. Which has natural seeds. I have a question. When you say which has natural seeds, meaning seeds should be natural or Rahul should have naturally seeds? So how do you write it? Because which has natural seeds, so seeds are natural only. It's in my pocket. Which are grown. Rahul is also growing only. Seeds should be grown naturally. Should be there in the object. Okay, so if I eat an apple and by mistake if I take the seed along with the apple inside, my stomach has it now. Agriculturally grown. So scientifically grow हुआ तो It is, I'm not supposed to get into biology, but last I checked, humans are also growing from yeah, you understand there, right? I'm not going to answer the question of, but yeah, last I checked, we are also growing from a seed, a different kind of seed, but yeah. When you say come, define come. So if it is if it is an item which gets destroyed within 3 weeks, it's a fruit. Huh, that's what. So basically, fruit includes any edible substance which naturally has seeds. Which naturally has seeds, can be eaten raw, and has a shelf life. Perishable. Matlab? After a point they die. Humans do also die. We have a bigger shelf life, but we die. We are also perishable. Yes, वो बोलते हैं ना हिंदी में, तुम क्या लेके आए थे, क्या लेके जाओगे? आगे का गाली है, लेकिन मैं बोल नहीं रहा. People, do you think the definition is now covering everything which you want to answer for? What is the mistake? Okay. People, if you understand, coffees are never grown naturally, in the sense that coffees are always poisonous. If you take the coffee seed and you eat it directly, you'll die. Right? Coffees are also cured. Then only it becomes a coffee which you people are now addicted to. Right? So technically, most of the fruits also are created in such a way that they may be poisonous, but after a bit of a curing and everything, they may become edible enough. People, as of now, does the definition, I'm not saying completely, but does it make sense? Does it make sense? Yes. It's saying a fruit includes any edible substance, which means anything which can be edible, which naturally has seeds. So it naturally has seed. It should not be artificially grown. It should not be artificially grown. It should not be artificially put inside it also. Yes. And can be eaten raw. Yes. Now, I wouldn't say the last one is important, because let's say for an example, you create a fruit custard. It's not created raw. Yes. You also have pumpkin pizza, pineapple pizzas and all those things. Yes. So it is not technically, it is required for you to eat it raw. Because then tomorrow what people will say, if a pineapple is put inside a pizza, it's not a fruit. Yes or no? So I don't think the last one is important. I can randomly come and say fruit includes any edible substance which naturally has seeds enough. Good enough to go. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. Now this is what you have defined for me. This is what you have defined for me. Now here is where the issue starts. Yes. The definition looks good, but my answer is still not solved. My answer is still not solved, because I went to the market and I came and told, if you have a seed, it's a fruit. But I am not interested about tomatoes and chilies. I'm not interested about tomatoes and chilies, which is where you have to understand how a definition works, people. Definitions are always given in generic sense. And then specifics are added. Yes or no? Yes. Now, this is where we are going to discuss together, where we are going to come and say any fruit is going to be an item which has seeds. Yes. Now, I'm going to list out items for you. You're going to tell me whether you want it as seed or you don't want it as seed. Whether you want it as seed or don't want it as seed. If you don't want it as seed, I will have to exclude them. If you want it as seed, do I have to exclude them? But I will have to probably clarify, because I am not happy with it. I'm not happy with it. Agreed, not agreed? Yes or no? Yes. Taking on the examples, people. Tomato. You are the ministry, your choice. Whatever you say is going to be law tomorrow. Just that we agree that tomorrow when you bring a fruit salad, if I see tomato in it, I'll be very angry. You want to exclude? You want to exclude? Okay. So how will it look like now, people? Now this will become a combination definition, where it started with and will now start with. So you will not use the word and, you will use the word but excludes. But excludes. Now, here is where the big question is. See, if you have one or two items, you can put it here itself. Imagine you have multiple items. At the same time, you don't know what you know right now. Tomorrow there may be another item which may come up, and you may have to define whether it is fruit or not. Better to put it in the definition. Is it better to put in the definition? No, it becomes risky because it will keep changing. It will keep changing. So I would like to put an separate document. I would like to put a separate document, and that separate document I would like to come and clarify what is not a fruit. Yes or no? Yes. Now, we both are the ministry of the department. Yes, but we are creating an act. We're creating an act. We are already planning to create a fruit department. We're already planning to create a fruit department. Easier if we give the powers to them. Yes or no? Because understand, people, if you want to include anything or exclude anything right now, this is an act. It has to go through the whole parliament process. It has to go through the whole parliament process. For one item, if I go and get approvals from parliament, do you think parliament is sitting vela? Better to give powers to my department. Yes or no? Yes. So rather than putting something in the act, what can I come and say? But excludes any item as may be prescribed by the board. Which board? Which board? Which board? The fruit board, people. The administrative board which you're going to create. The administrative board which you're going to create. Which means now I have given special powers to them, where I'm coming and telling I'm now giving you a power to exclude some item as you decide what you want. You decide what you want. Yes, saves me time, saves them time also. Saves me time, saves them time also. Yes or no? Yes. Now if you have come to this point, people, if you have come to this point, you will now probably understand that board gets powers only from act. Board only gets powers from act. If the board does not get power from the act, does the board can act independently? No. In simple words, act is bigger, rule is bigger. Act is bigger, rule is bigger. Act is always bigger. Yes, rules cannot override anything given in the act. Rules cannot override anything given in the act unless and until act gives them the power to override the same. Unless and until the act gives them the power to override the same. Yes or no? Yes. Which means tomorrow if the fruit board comes and tries to define what is fruit, will they be called valid or will they be called invalid? Because I already gave you powers only to exclude items. I did not give you powers to make sense. Make sense? Yes or no? Yes. This is what is called as powers granted to the board by way of creating rules. In simple words, people, act comes and tells you what to do. Rules come and tell you how to do. Rules come and tell you how to do. How cannot happen without knowing the what. Without knowing the what. Makes sense? Yes or no? Because we have come to this point, people, now we'll have to create a special fruit rules. We'll now have to create a special fruit rules, holding back on that right now. Holding back on that right now. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. Going forward. Going forward. Yes. Now come to an example, people, where I'm coming and saying you have told fruits are only those items which has seeds. Now there are some items which may not have seeds but may be called fruits. Like, I forgot. There are items which has seeds but are not called but are fruits. Grapes. The black one has, the green does not. No. What is ice apple? Okay, maybe ice apple, is it? Okay. Now here is the issue, people. Now you have found out an item. You found out an item called ice apple or whatever it is called, some genetically created item. Yes. Now you have an item called as ice apple. Now if you look at the definition, does it fall into fruit or does not fall into fruit? You want to make it to fall into fruit. Yes or no? Yes or no? Which means now you want to override the definition itself. Now you want to override the definition, because see, understand, you cannot include something because includes says seeds. Now you cannot say fruit includes any edible substance which naturally has seeds and includes ice apple. That becomes weird. That becomes weird. What is the better thing to do? You may come and say, Rahul, generally the definition is to have seeds. There may be some items which may, but I still want to call it fruit. Yes or no? Now that is an exception to the main rule. That is an exception to the main rule. How do you create an exception to the main rule? Very good. You create something called as provisos. You create something called as provisos. Yes, provisos are basically an item which is given to the item to come and clarify that I am now going to override you. I am now going to override you. Yes or no? How do you understand whether some item is called a proviso? It starts with the word provided. It starts with the word provided. Yes. So if I want to create a proviso, I will always start with something called as provided. If I want to create a second proviso, very good, I will call it as provided further. If I want to create a third proviso, it is called provided also. It is called as provided also. First proviso is always starting with provided that, then it is provided further, then it is provided also. From here everything is provided also. From here everything is provided also. Yes or no? Yes. Now I am going to write down a definition of fruit where I am going to put a negative definition. I'm going to put a negative definition where I'm coming and saying provided that. Provided that. Again, same question, people. Would you like to put ice apple here? Would you like to put ice apple here? No, you would not like to put ice apple here because again, many items can come. Yes. Now, here is where again the same question comes. Would you like to give exclusion powers to board? You have already given the inclusion powers. Would you like to give the exclusion powers also to the board? Maybe not. Maybe not, because you would like to keep the exclusion powers with you. Otherwise, you may lose all the benefits. You may lose all the benefits, which means you want to keep the exclusion powers with you, but you don't want to put it in the definition. You don't want to put it in the definition. You would like to put it as an annexure to your act. You would like to put it as an annexure to your act. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. Therefore, what happens is if you want to create an annexure to your bill, you will now create something called as schedules. You now create something called as schedules. You remember any schedules? You have a very famous schedule 3 of Companies Act, which talks about your, which means Government of India has defined how a balance sheet and P&L should look like in the act. Tomorrow, if you want to change anything in the balance sheet and P&L format, who has to approve? Who has to approve? Parliament has to approve because it's a part of the schedule. It's part of the schedule. Can companies, NCLT come and approve it? No. Can ROC do it? No, because they are powers with rules. Rules cannot override. So I am coming and saying provided that any item as may be prescribed in, spelling bolo, are in schedule 1, and schedules are always written in Roman numerals. So as prescribed in schedule 1 shall not be treated as what? Fruit. Shall not be treated as fruit. Agreed, not agreed? Yes or no? Yes. Now, if you notice, provided says any item as may be prescribed in schedule 1 shall not be treated as fruit. And I've given the proviso to the definition itself. Tell me which one is bigger. Which one is superior? Which one is superior? Is the proviso superior or the definition superior? Is the proviso superior or the definition superior? It is the proviso which is now the superior one, because definition says it should not be fruit. Proviso says it should be fruit. Which one do you want to go with? Oh, shall be treated as fruit. Even if no seeds are naturally available. Yes, yes. So now I have come and told you what is a fruit, and I have given a proviso to the fruit also, which means the proviso is now coming and clarifying to you, even if something is not a fruit, it is now a fruit, which means proviso has now become superior. Proviso has now become superior. Makes sense? Makes sense. Now I'll give you an instance, people. Imagine what is happening is you have found a fruit, a banana. Banana. Now what happened is the banana was not tasting good in your region. So what you did is you did some scientific process and everything and genetically made the banana sweeter. Genetically made the banana sweeter in order to be able to sell it in your market. Question to you, as the Ministry of the Fruit, genetically created fruits, would you like to call it fruit, not like to call it fruit? Would you like to call it fruit, not like to call it fruit? You made it sweet because you want to call it fruit, no? First you will, ये अलग है, इनकी फूड मिनिस्ट्री चल रही है. तुम डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ हेल्थ केयर में जाओगे, रेस्टोरेंट में जाके बैठोगे, 4 फूड लेके आओ, उसके बाद मैं बताऊंगा डिपार्टमेंट अच्छा चल रहा है क्या नहीं. Yes, simple question, people. Yes, genetically created fruits are still fruits enough. So as a ministry, let's agree that we want to call it fruits. Yes. Now question to you, is it an exception to the rule? It's not, because technically it also has seeds. It is also a fruit. You just want to clarify something. You just want to clarify something, meaning you're just trying to expand the scope, which is already there. Is it an exception to the rule? It's not an exception to the rule. You now want to clarify a few things. How do you do that? How do you do that? You include something called as no, you bring in something called as explanations. You bring in something called as explanations, yes, where now you are trying to explain what is there in the definition. You're trying to explain what is there in the definition, and explanation works in the most easiest manner, people. If you only have one explanation, it's called explanation. If you have multiple explanations, you'll say explanation 1, explanation 2, explanation 3, and so on and so forth. So on and so forth. Yes. Now I'm only putting one explanation, so therefore I'm saying explanation for the purpose of people. Are you putting it for the act or are you putting it for the definition? So you'll say for the purpose of this clause, any genetically modified what product will also be termed as fruit. Will also be termed as fruit. Agreed, not agreed? Yes. Now question, explanation is bigger than the definition or not bigger than the definition? Can explanation override the definition? In order of sequence, people. Order of sequence. Topmost priority, proviso, second priority, third priority. That is how the sequence looks like. That is how the sequence looks like. Yes or no? Yes. So every time you read a law, people, always come and ask yourself a first question, whether it is a proviso or is it an explanation. If it's a proviso, you know you need to read that first. But if it's an explanation, you know first you have to take reference from the top, then only you can come down. Then only you can come down. You cannot come down without reading the top item. Without reading the top item. Yes or no? Yes. Fruit over. Make sense? Make sense? Any doubts on this? No. Now you have come and told me what is a fruit. You have come and told me what is a fruit. I now brought you something called as a brinjal, and I showed it to you. If you notice, brinjal also has seeds. Yes. Now you and I have agreed that we'll put it in the exclusion, and therefore department will notify it in the rules. Department will notify in the rules. Okay. Assume that you have department notified also in the rules that this is not a fruit. Now the problem is, I know this is not a fruit, but I need to call it something. I need to call it vegetable. Yes or no? Yes. Now that also has to be defined, because you cannot look at an item and come and say this is not fruit. Yes or no? You cannot go to someone and come and say this is not man. You need to tell what is the person. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. Because then it goes very ugly. Correct, not correct? So I cannot go to someone and come and say this is not fruit. I need to call it something. I need to call it something, and you have decided to call it, which means we need to also define. Agreed, not agreed? Yes. Now, if I'm starting with the fruit, vegetable is going to come after fruit, before fruit. So I'm, let's say, for example, putting it in 12 as, again, people, now that you're putting a definition, you need to decide whether it should be choice, inclusive. So what? Why? Very good. Yes, it's always important to be smart also, people. It's always important to be smart also. If you start with the word vegetable includes, you now have to define what is vegetables. And you'll get to a standpoint where something may not be fruit, something may not be vegetable. It's just hanging in the air. Yes or no? Yes. One simple thing you can tell. Rahul, if I see it and it is not a fruit, then it is, in simple words, vegetable is a exclusive definition. Yes. So I can simply come and say vegetable means or excludes, whatever you call it. Vegetable means or excludes any item. Very good. Other than a, as per 2, 6, as per 2, 6. Yes or no? Yes. Now that I've done this, people, answer has become very simple. You look at an item, you have only two options. Either you call it, stop, that is the answer. That is the answer. Yes or no? Yes or no? There is no scope beyond this. There is no scope beyond this. Everything else will now be called as a vegetable. But this now also causes problems. Because if I look at a chair, chair is also a vegetable. Chair is also a vegetable. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. Technically, if you notice, chair is also now a vegetable because it's not a fruit. Because it's not a fruit. Now you may come and ask me, Rahul, yes, now chair has become a vegetable, big problem. I say still doesn't matter. I say still doesn't matter because my intention of the law was only to create. I don't care what is everything else. I don't care what is everything else. You call it vegetable, you call it chicken, I don't care because I'm not going to talk anything about it. I'm only going to talk about. That is what my job is. That is what my job is, and that's what I've done. That I've done. So as per my definition, it is called vegetable. As per my definition, it is called vegetable. Unless I put a penalty on the vegetable, there is an issue. Unless I do anything with, unless I don't do anything with the vegetable, I don't care. So which means for me, I can call it whatever I want. If someone else has a problem, let them create a separate act for it. Let them create a separate act for it. I'm a very selfish guy. I want to create fruit act. So I'm working with the fruit act. I'm working with the fruit act. Does this make sense? Does this make sense? Great. Now you have created the bill, people. You have created the bill where the bill comes and tells you what is the matter solved. Correct, not correct? Correct, not correct? Is the matter solved? Is the matter solved? Why? People, very simple. This is India. This is India. If you go and tell someone to do something, the first question he'll come and ask you is, what if I don't do? You are not interested about doing it. You first want to know what happens if you don't do. Because if you tell nothing will happen, then they'll kill him. Okay, fir kya hai? Yes or no? Yes or no? So I now have a problem because I have defined what is fruit. You and I have taken so much efforts. 2 hours we have spent on this to just write 4 lines. Yes or no? Tomorrow we should be ensuring that someone follows it also. Yes or no? Because tomorrow if you go to the market and someone comes and says fruit act is there, which comes and says what is a fruit, he comes and says yeah, it tells, but what care, who cares? I still want to call it vegetable. Mera mood yahi hai. Yes or no? It causes problems, which means every act, while it does not like to do it, will have to put a penal clauses. We'll have to put penal clauses. Agreed, not agreed? Yes. So now I have to bring in section number 4. Yes or no? I'll have to bring in section number 4, which talks about penalty. Which talks about penalty. Yes. Now, what kind of penalty would you like to have, people? You are the ministry, you decide. What kind of penalty do you like to have? You want to have penalty just because the person uses the word fruit, or do you want to have a penalty because he puts the fruit inside he puts a vegetable inside fruit salad? What kind of penalty do you want to have? What are the issues you are trying to avoid? See, that you have sorted. You have sorted what is a fruit, what is a vegetable. Yes. Now, imagine someone comes and says, yes, I look at a brinjal. Brinjal is not a fruit. That is what the act says. But the guy is still putting the brinjal in the fruit salad. Are you having a problem with that? Which means you would like to have a penalty for that. You would not like to have a penalty for whether someone comes and calls it fruit or vegetable. You have a problem with what happens after that. Yes. So as a penalty, you now need to decide for what and all do you want to put penalties. For what and all do you want to put penalties? First thing is illegal use of vegetables inside fruit. Illegal use of vegetables inside fruit. When you show a menu card and the menu card says fruit salad, it means it should only have fruit items. If you start using vegetables inside the fruit salad, you are illegally using it. That is first penalty I would like to have. Any other penalties you want? One is good enough. One is good enough. Yes. So I'm coming and saying penalty for illegal use of not fruits. Okay, vegetables actually. In this definition we have used vegetables, right? In fruits and fruit products. Custard is not a fruit, no? Yes or no? Yes. So now I'm coming and defining what do you want as a penalty. Yes, dear ministry, levy penalty. Give me a number. You are the ministry, people. You can do anything you want. 5,000. Okay, so now you are saying penalty for so and so. Yes, now if you can write it, you will say if a person illegally uses vegetables in products of sale of fruit, products of sale of fruit, he shall be liable for a penalty of that is if you want to put prosecution you have to go separately. Yes, that's another section. Yes, 5,000. Yes, okay, question to you. I went to a restaurant and the restaurant served me a fruit salad with brinjal inside it. Yes, now I have looked at it and I have come and told, sir, you should have not done that, you have violated this provision, therefore you have to pay 5,000 rupees. He said, yes, actually I've been doing this for the past 2 years. 2 years ago itself I paid 5,000 rupees. Which means the moment I've paid 5,000 rupees, I can continue doing it. Question, is this 5,000 one-time payment or 5,000 per default? That also you have to tell, no? Yes, so it is 5,000. 5,000 per default. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. Now you have come and clarified that every time you make an issue, there is a 5,000 ka penalty. There is a 5,000 ka penalty. Question to you, who will levy the 5,000 penalty? Nirmala Tai will go personally and go and tell, give 5,000 rupees. Parliament will do it. Who will do it? The fruit board will do it for you. Yes or no? Yes. So you have to come and say, he shall be liable for a penalty of 5,000 per default, levied by collected is coming from the constitution itself, so that's okay. Yes, levied by the fruit board. Levied by the fruit board. Yes or no? Yes. So now I'm coming and telling the board now has the powers to put penalty on you. Now the moment I'm giving the powers to the board, does it mean that board mandatory has to put penalty? He can choose to not put penalty. It's a discretionary choice. It's a discretionary choice. Yes or no? Yes. Now simple question, people. Imagine I'm running a restaurant and in my restaurant fruit means fruits. I'm not changing anything, but you are one of the stupid customers. Yes, you come to me and come and tell, if you serve me fruit salad, I want brinjal inside it. I want brinjal inside it. I am not ready. You are forcing me. Because you forced me, department comes to me and says pay penalty. Am I liable to pay penalty? No. But the section says you have to. Correct? Correct. This is a forced penalty now. I need to give you an opportunity to be heard. Yes or no? Yes or no? I would also like to give you an opportunity that yes, you may be liable for penalty, but not 5,000, maybe 100 rupees, because it's not your mistake. It's not your mistake. Yes or no? Yes. Which means now I want a law which is overriding the penalty law. I want a law which is overriding the penalty law. The problem is you cannot put a provided here because heading itself says penalty. And the same section itself cannot override heading. The same section itself cannot override section heading, which means you now need to create a new section. You now need to create a new section where you're saying section number 5, penalty not leviable in certain cases. Penalty not leviable in certain cases. Now ask yourself a simple question, people. You are creating section number 5, which is now going to tell you what cases la penalty will not be levied. What cases la penalty will not be levied. Now section 4 says levy penalty. Section 5 says don't levy penalty. Clashing each other, which means now you need to come to a position where you need to decide which one is superior. You need to decide which one is superior. You would like to make 5 as superior or 4 as superior? You would like to make 5 as superior. If you make 4 as superior, what happens, people? They will say 5 ka matlab hi nahi hai fir. They will say every person will be levied penalty, which means you would like to make 5 as superior. Agreed, not agreed? Yes. Now how do you make one section superior than the other section? How do you make one section superior than the other section? What is the English? No clue. ये तो पक्का पढ़ा है लॉ में. Very good. You start with something called as notwithstanding anything contained in people. What am I trying to override? Am I trying to override every section or am I trying to override only 4? So I will say notwithstanding anything contained in section 4. Notwithstanding anything contained in section 4. Now here is where the game starts, people. When you lose the word notwithstanding, you also need to define how much notwithstanding do you want to go. Yes, you have an option to notwithstand against one section. You have an option to notwithstand against one chapter. You have an option to notwithstand against any act itself. Any act itself, which means if you come and use the word notwithstanding anything contained in this act, it means this section becomes the superior most section. This section becomes the superior most section. This will be the first section to be referred than anything else. Than anything else. Yes or no? Simple example for you people. While you may not understand this right now, when you go to finals, income tax comes and says that tax will be levied as per Income Tax Act for non-residents. For non-residents. But if at all India signs an agreement with the foreign country for a lower tax, notwithstanding anything contained in Income Tax Act, the agreement will become valid. The agreement will become valid. Yes, which means if you have an agreement and you have an act, always look for agreement first. If the agreement gives a lower rate, use the agreement rate. Use the agreement rate. There they use the word notwithstanding anything contained in the act itself, meaning nothing of income tax is applicable as long as agreement mentions it. As long as agreement mentions it. I am keeping a limited scope. I am saying notwithstanding anything contained in section 5, which means this can only override section 4. Cannot override anything else. Cannot override anything else. Any idea, people, what is the section called? What is this section read as English? We call it as non-obstante clause. We call it as non-obstante clause. Non-obstante clause means that this clause has superior powers over other things. This clause has superior powers over other things. Yes. Now, if I am using the word notwithstanding anything contained in section 4, what should I write? I should write notwithstanding anything contained in section 4. If a person makes an application, Now, people, force was an example given to you. Yes, there can be 101 reasons. I would like to give the powers to the board to decide when they want to levy penalty and when they don't want to levy penalty. So I am coming and saying if a person makes an application to the board in prescribed format, a prescribed format means I also need to come and tell them how to make the application, which means I'll have to give them a form number, how much amount to pay, when to pay, how many copies to pay, when should you when should you file it, before when should you file it, what happens if you don't file it. All those things have to be described. Hey, do you think I as a ministry should do it? It is enough if the board does it themselves. Board will come and decide how much to pay, what to pay and how not to pay. Yes or no? So let board do it in the rules. Let board do it in the rules. Yes or no? Yes. So I am saying notwithstanding anything contained in section number 4, if a person makes an application to the board in prescribed format, he may be levied a penalty as the fruit board may think fit. As the fruit board may think fit, which means I am coming and clarifying, I am not quantifying what the penalty is. Fruit can decide, board can decide whether they want to levy 5, 2, 1 or zeros also, Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. This is how your bill looks like. This is how your bill looks like. Any other changes you want to make in the bill? Good enough to go? Good enough to go? Yes. Now there will obviously be multiple other items, but this is what the agenda is. This is what the agenda is. People, when you read a law, when we read a law, there are so many items to be looked at. Yes, first is to always look for the sections, which comes and gives the heading. Under sections you have either subsections or clauses. Yes, then you have section number 2, which talks about your definitions. Always has to be arranged in alphabetical order. Definitions are of 3 types: inclusive, exclusive, exhaustive. Inclusive, exclusive, exhaustive is what it is. If you want to create an annexure to the act, it is done as schedules. If you want to notify something to the board, it is done by rules. Rules can never override act. Proviso overrides sections. Proviso overrides the respective sections. Explanation does not override sections. Explanation does not override sections. The section which gives the powers of this act to come and tell what is to be done is called charging section. Is called as charging section. If you want to give one section superior than the other section, you call it non-obstante clauses. You call it non-obstante clauses. Yes or no? If you want to create a section which is inferior than the other section, if you want to create a section which is inferior to the other section, meaning I want to create section 6 which will take a reference from section 4, which will take reference from section 4, we use something called subject to the provisions of section 4. We use the word subject to the provisions of section 4, meaning there I am coming and saying first you look at 4, then you check for 6, then you check for 6. Order of priority now changes, meaning topmost priority will be given to 5, then 4, then 6, then 4, then 6. Yes or no? Yes. This is how the whole bill will be created. Yes. From this bill, now that I've given powers to my board, I'll now have to create rules. People, rules will follow the same template. Rules will follow the same template. No change in the template. Yes. Now the thing is, rules will say fruit rules 2024. Fruit rules 2024. The same format will be followed. The only difference is wherever you use the word section, now you'll use the word rules. Yes. So it will be called as rule 3 sub rule A. Rule 3 sub rule 2. Yes. In rules, you cannot move to clauses. In rules, you cannot move to clauses directly because you're creating a rule for a specific item, which means sequence is to be maintained. Sequence is to be maintained. Section 2's clause is permitted. Rules to clauses not permitted. Rules will always have a sub rule. Rules will always have a sub rule. Makes sense? Makes sense. Yes. This is what the format template looks like. Any doubts on this? No. Now we have created what is called as act. We have created what is called as rules. We've created what is called as act and what is called as rules. Now you have a bill ready. You and I have done a great job. We have created a bill. We have created a bill. But the bill has to be passed. What is the template, people? How do you pass a bill? What happens? People, you and I are the ministry. You and I are the ministry. We will first be given an opportunity to stand at a stage called as Lok Sabha. To stand at a stage called as Lok Sabha. Now, because I am the representative of you people, I will take the document, stand on the stage and come and say, dear members of the parliament, this is the bill which I would like to propose to the August stage, during this auspicious day. 2, 3, 4 chairs will break and then ministries will decide, approve. At this stage, the other members can decide to reject the bill also. Or they can ask you for some changes. Assuming all those things happen. Lok Sabha has approved it. From Lok Sabha, it goes to, for those who understand, Rajya Sabha is your upper house. The people who are elected in the Rajya Sabha are done by Lok Sabha members. Now you may come and ask, Rahul, why do you need it? It's very simple, people. Lok Sabha is approved by us. And the problem what happens is, if we give more majority to one party, everything will get approved in Lok Sabha. Rajya Sabha now acts as an audit wing. Because Lok Sabha members are deciding Rajya Sabha members. So which means the ratio will be fairly equal. And therefore Rajya Sabha will have more independence than Lok Sabha does. Yes. So which means now I'll send the bill to Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha will decide either to accept it or reject it, or they will send it back to you for modifications. Luckily, Rajya Sabha also approved. Goes to, very good, it goes to president. What will the president do? The president will do something called as an assent. Lok Sabha will do approvals. Rajya Sabha will do approvals. President does an assent. People, what is the difference? What do you mean by assent? Question. Imagine Fruit Act, there are some things. Lok Sabha has approved it, Rajya Sabha has approved it. President comes and says, no, I don't like this line, delete it off. I don't like this line, delete it off. Can he do so? Can he do so? Nothing can be done. Nothing can be done. Assent basically means signing. Assent basically means signing, which means president has been given the powers to sign the document. Has been given the powers to sign the document. Guy has no powers to do anything. Guy has no powers to do anything. When the whole Lok Sabha has sat on it and the Rajya Sabha has sat on it, who the hell is one person to come and decide things, right? And therefore, president will summa given assent. Assent means signing on the document. Assent means signing on the document. I'm not even using the word approval, people, because approval means he can change. Guy cannot change anything. He has to give an assent. He has to give an assent. The moment he gives an assent, it will automatically become act. It will automatically become an act. Here is the question. Here is the question. I am coming and saying president is not happy with the line. He wants to change it. I went to him and said, sir, sign and get lost. Sign and get lost. He's like, no, I don't like it. Therefore, I'm not signing it. Therefore, I'm not signing it. Will it be on hold? Will it be on hold? Will it be on hold? No. In the laws of India come and say president are given 14 days to sign the document. President are given 14 days to sign the document. The day when it reaches the president's office, within 14 days, he has to sign it. He has to sign it. If he does not sign it on the 14th day, on the 15th day, it is assumed signed. On the 15th day, it is assumed signed. Matlab, guy is just a dummy body. Guy is just a dummy body. All powers are only with Modi. All powers are only with Modi. President has nothing to do. The Murmura, whatever her name is. Draupadi, Murmura or Murmura something. Yes. One, the name is either the Pandava's name and the second one is an eating thing. Don't know what kind of logic she had. Yes. So she has absolutely no powers. Woman can only sign. Woman can only sign. If she does not sign within 14 days, deemed approved. Deemed approved. Yes or no? Yes, that is the kind of powers which president has. That is the kind of powers which president has. You may come and ask Rahul, why are we giving that much power also? Might as well pass it off when Rajya Sabha says yes or no. Yes or no. It's very simple, people. For those who did not read your civics properly, presidents are called as the first citizens of India. Yes, meaning the moment you become the president of India, it is assumed that you are the firstborn of India. It is assumed that you are the firstborn of India, and Indian cultures require that anything which happens in the house, the eldest person should give blessings on it. The eldest person should give blessings on it. So, traditions of India, we are going to the eldest person of India and coming and saying, we are planning to do something. Can you bless it? No approval and all. Can you bless it? Can you bless it? And you and I both know, people, when we go to our elders, we only go for informing. We don't go for consent. We don't go for consent. If they come and say, nahi beta, nahi karna chahiye, you'll be like, पूछा नहीं है, बता रही हूँ. Yes or no? Yes. It is as simple as coming and saying, I am only coming to you for confirmation that I am doing this. Either you be okay with it or you be okay with it. Yes. Either you do it voluntarily or you do forcefully, but it is happening. It is happening. लड़का पसंद है तो शादी इससे ही होगी, वरना नहीं होगी. Yes. Designer लहंगा साथ में चाहिए मेरे को. Yes. That Alia Bhatt's movie. Humpty Sharma ki Dulhaniya. Yes, that is the same thing. Yes, you go to your family and come and say, this is what I want. You do it or else it is happening. Yes, president has been given that much limited powers, people. No other powers are there. President only has two powers. One is to sign the documents. Second, he manages the army. He manages the army. That is what his powers are. Yes, which means all decisions relating to army alone, president will take. In that also, prime minister will come and put the hand on it. Yes, so therefore, technically in India, president has no powers. Yes, all the powers of presidents are only in other countries. US and all gives more powers to presidents. Prime ministers have no powers there. Yes, their prime ministers are useless bodies. Here we work differently. Yes, India is basically the model where India does not do anything new. India likes to take something else from others. But we are that Bihari mindset. If you copy it just like that, teacher will find out. So what we'll do? Some changes we'll make. Some changes we'll make. That is what happens, people. Yes, we have that kind of show of fabric happening in the market. Yes, you will see it in accounts. You have this subject called as AS, Accounting Standards in Inter. In finals, you'll go, there is something called IND-AS, Indian Accounting Standards. Yes, Indian accounting standards are nothing but global standards. Globally, they've agreed for some standards. India told, we will not adopt global standards. because I want India standards. I have my own standards. I have my own standards. So what we did, we copy pasted the old standards. We copy pasted the old standards, but we changed it from global reporting standards to Indian accounting standards. Yes, and now we go and show off to the world saying we have created our own standards. Pata ellame copy paste. That is what happens. That is what happens. Indians are very good at this, no doubt about it. Yes, we don't use our head. Yes, we are only good with engineering things and all. Yes, apart from that, nothing else we are good at. We'll just go copy paste from other people. That is what we can do better, right? So this is what happens here. This is what happens here. The moment the president gives an assent, people, what happens? You now have to notify to the India. You now have to notify to the India saying this is passed. This is passed. Now imagine going to everyone's house and coming and saying pass, pass, pass. We created a Indian library. We created an Indian library called as the official gazette. We created an Indian library and we came and told the moment it is passed, it will be now called as an act, and the act will be published in something called as the official gazette. The moment it gets passed in the official gazette, the moment it gets stored in the official gazette, it is assumed as informed to everyone. It is assumed as informed to everyone. If you are not aware about it, that is your loss. That is your loss. You are supposed to be aware about what is happening in India. If you do not, if you are not aware about it and you end up doing the mistake, you cannot be excused for it. You cannot be excused for it. We have a Greek term. I don't remember the Greek term exactly, but the Greek term basically comes and says ignorance of law is not an excuse. Ignorance of a law is not an excuse. You need to follow the law. You need to follow the law, which means the moment it hits the official gazette, it is assumed as informed to you. It is assumed as informed to you. Yes or no? Yes. Similar ways, people, rules also will come. Rules, like the good thing about rules is that it does not have to go through the parliament route. If the ministry does, if the board decides, the board will have a boss. The whole boss of the boards will be there. Yes or no? Yes. That boss of the board will have to sign it. The moment the boss of the board signs, it will be issued in the, and it is assumed as passed. And it is assumed as passed. So rules are a lot easier to do. Rules are a lot easier to do, which is why we keep very restricted powers with them, because if we give them all the powers, they will change the whole world. Yes. So all the powers on how to do, what to do will be done in act. Only the powers of will be informed in. Yes or no? Yes. So the job of an act is to come and tell you what is the law. The job of the rules is come to tell you how to do the law. How to do the law. Does this make sense? Any doubts on this? No. Now this is almost about 50 pages in your study material, people. Yes, where they have come and told you what exactly does the law mean, how does the law look like, what are the formats of law, what items are there in the law, stories and stories are given. Yes, and comedy is this 50 pages are not in Income Tax Act. It's there in every subject. Yes, you have the same thing in law, you have the same thing in IDT, you have the same thing in DT, you have the same thing in what other subject you have? Audit law is not there. Law itself, there are 5 different laws, right? So this same 50 pages will be storied there also. Yes, now I could have given you all the English. It's easier to create the law. You now fairly understood what is happening. Yes or no? Yes, same template works for any law. Same template works for any law. If you understood the template here, you can fairly understand the law. You can fairly understand the law. Now this is what is the simplest of the laws, people. Yes, English is the most simpler here. Yes, when I actually show you the actual bare act, you will not understand anything in it. Yes, while you may understand the format, template and everything, you will understand now what is a proviso, what is notwithstanding, what is explanation, what is definitions and all those things. The English in that will not make sense. The English in that will not make sense. Too exorbitant English. That is what India looks like. Yes, lawyers are sitting on the top level and they come and tell boss, make it so much complicated that no one understands. Make it so much complicated that no one understands, so that the ones who can understand get money out of it. Yes, and therefore laws are created that level only. Somehow if you go through your ICAI study material, you will realize it. Yes, ICAI study material will start like that only. It will come and say, for the purpose of section 22, an income from house property means an annual value of the house property of which the assessee is owner and is deemed to have an income in the previous year in which the transfer takes place. Exactly. Right? This is how one definition will look like. This is how one definition will look like. And if you go through sections like 94B and all, it'll come and say, notwithstanding anything contained in section 28 to 44, when an associated enterprise enters into a transaction where the interest is deemed to be more than 1 crore rupees in a previous year, aggregating together or aggregating from every person, it also includes any other transaction which is deemed to have a barring guarantee. This transaction will be disallowed to the extent of excess interest and will be allowed as deduction over the period of 8 years. For the purpose of subsection 1, excess interest means so and so, so and so, so and so, so and so, so and so. And you're like, kya chal raha hai? Yes or no? Yes. Yes. Reading a law is a skill. Reading a law is a skill. It's not an easy thing, people. Yes, not everyone is tuned to that extent, right? Unfortunately, you don't have it as a part of your syllabus. Yes, you don't have the scope to read a law. You don't have the scope to read a law. ICA expects at inter level that you know to write an answer. That's all. Yes, they don't expect you to read a law. They don't expect you to read a law. They don't expect that also, because they also know that when they're creating the papers, they also don't know what it is. Right? So ICA has taken some assumptions. Yes, where ICA has read something and ICA has understood it in such a way. So ICA has created a study material where they've come and told, I read it like this and this is what it is. If someone else has a different opinion, get lost. But as a my student, you are supposed to follow this only. You are supposed to follow this only. After you clear, do not follow it. Yes, ICA, when you start itself, the first thing, no, the preface will come. The preface will come and say the answers given in this subject, the answers given in the study material are subject to interpretations. This is the personal opinion of ICA and may be litigated before the officers. Yes, standard opinion given by any consultant. Yes, where they'll come and say, I've given you what I think. If you like it, you take it. If you don't like it, don't take it, your choice. Don't take it, your choice. Tomorrow, if someone is put in jail, it is you, not me. I only gave you an because you. That is what ICA is. That is what ICA is. Yes or no? Yes. So as we go through the subject, people, for the first few days, you will not have technical topics. But as we go through the subject, when we go to the technical subjects, I will tell you what is given. And I'll ask you a question. How did you understand it? Then I will tell you how ICA understood it. Yes. And then I'll come and clarify. ICA thinks they know better income tax than income tax itself. Right? So now they are going to income tax department coming and saying, you don't know what income tax is. Let me tell you what it is. Right? That is what you learn in ICA. See enter. Yes. So see enter, you'll see 5 different items where ICA will come and tell, this is what I think is right. And if you go and drop a mail to them, no, they will ignore the mail off because they think they know better. Right? So that is what is going to happen in the subject. This subject has room for interpretations to the best extent possible. Yes. Every time I teach you something in the class, I will itself come and tell you, don't follow this when you clear the exams. Yes. After you clear the exams, if you go to your principal, your manager, someone and come and tell him that, sir, this is what Rahul taught me. And therefore, this is what it is because this is what I wrote in ICA exams. He'll come and say, okay, you go write ICA only. I don't want you in my office. Yes or no? He doesn't care because he is not looking for how to do. He's looking for how not to do. Yes. So he's looking those answers from you. He's not looking at answers on how you can follow. He wants answers on how you should not follow. Understood, not understood? Yes or no? Yes. So those kind of discussions will happen as we go forward. Right now, for the initial 1 week, at least you're going to be with me only to understand what the subject looks like. What the subject looks like. Yes or no? Yes. Any doubts on the subject? Good enough to go? Yes. We have not even scrapped what is income tax yet. Yes. We have just now scrapped what you should know for your foundation. Yes. Yes. Now, as I stop and we go for a breakfast break, I have now clarified to you what you should have learnt in foundation. Yes. After we come back from the break, we are now going to scrap what is inter. We are now going to scrap what is inter. I am still not into income tax. Yes. I am still into inter only. Now let me take you to inter. Let me take you to inter. I will now take you to inter after we come back and we'll discuss a few more things of inter. Then we'll move to income tax. Then we'll move to income tax. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. 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 You will not run away after the break, right? You'll come back? Let's take a break and come back at 10. Let's be back at 10.